summer, not really.
No?
No. Just
Nothing
mainly,
work-related, or-
getting shit done for October.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What do you have going on in October then?
My solo show's coming up in October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
It's just photo work. Basically 90% unreleased stuff from the last few months and stuff like that. And then my team and I piece it together and kind of try to mess around with as many different things as we can for planning and marketing, all that stuff.
Okay.
And the last one we did was 2 years ago. So we slacked off last year, fucked up, didn't do it. And then I'm going to do one in October. It's like a proper show.
That's pretty cool. So basically your own kind of gallery type of thing. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Born to Create podcast ran by Acef.media. Make sure to check out this podcast on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Also subscribe, leave us a nice rating. It does help a lot. My name's Ace Fothergill. I'm a 20-year-old photographer, videographer, and a passionate apple pie eater.
I'm Frank, graphic designer, photographer, and video editor.
Not a content creator this week?
I keep switching it up, man. I don't know. It was written there, so I just read it. But yeah.
Be who you want to be.
Yeah. And this is our guest, Thesilkmade. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Siamak. I run by the alias Thesilkmade for most of my creative work. Photographer primarily, creative director, dabble in video every once in a while. But yeah, click buttons for a living. That's basically it.
Sounds about right.
Pretty accurate.
A couple buttons, that's it.
Yeah.
So why did you pick that as your handle? Is there a reason why?
So my last name in Farsi literally means made of silk. Okay. So I was like, let's fucking flip this around.
That's
there you go.
sick.
Surprise. Yeah.
That's pretty sick, actually.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I know you went on tour with Elijah and Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like going on tour?
It was crazy. So super different to what I'm used to doing. Because there was no really schedule or anything like that. You're just shooting all the time. And I'd shot a few shows before, but it was super different to do it almost every night.
Yeah.
It was probably the most fun I've had working. Mm-hmm. But turnaround was crazy fast. You'd finish the show and then the photos would be done in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's crazy turnaround.
Jeez.
But it was a dope way to see the country too.
Yeah,
we did it all by van, so 3.5 weeks between here in Vancouver, and you can see some shit. So
that's pretty sick.
No, it was awesome. Yeah.
So what were your thoughts going into the tour, and then what were your thoughts coming out of the tour?
I did a crap load of research before starting.
Okay.
To be what should I be bringing, gear that I need to use, all that kind of stuff. Which, all of it basically went out the window the minute I started anyways. But it was mainly, I was really excited because I knew, I know Eli and Jamie pretty well. And it was interesting to see, what our team was going to be for 3.5 weeks together, bunking in hotel rooms and stuff like that. And it turned out super well. Expectations, through the roof. Everything went super well. I was a little nervous in terms of gear and what I'd have with me. If I was if I was going to be screwed, if I had everything I needed, all this kind of stuff. And when we finished everything, 500 to 600 gigs worth of photos. And then because it's 1,100 to 1,200 per night.
Yes.
And 15 shows and all that kind of stuff. And so coming out of it, there's an awesome body of work.
Yeah.
And, a bunch of unreleased stuff from just actual behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I couldn't fucking be happier.
That's awesome.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Damn. Did you lose any gear during the trip?
No.
No?
I'm super anal about my gear.
All right, good.
I almost lost a lens cap, and that was about it. I think. Yeah, I didn't leave anything. Everything kind of stayed where it had to be.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky you, I lost my lens cap for my 70-200.
Yeah, and what he uses? A $200 ND filter to cover it. Because that's smart.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I'd rather spend $200 than spend another $3,000 on a lens, you know?
Yeah.
Amazon Day doesn't buy a lens cap.
Yeah, I was gonna say $3 lens cap.
Who needs those?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, what was your favorite moment from the tour, if there is one?
Okay, favorite PG moment from the tour
Doesn't matter.
was So our last show was in Vancouver at the Orpheum, and during every show, about halfway through the set, I would get on stage and take a photo of like Eli and Jamie in the crowd.
Oh yeah.
And then in Vancouver, the stage was run by Union, so I wasn't allowed on the stage itself. So we had to like find another way to do it. So I went all the way back to like the end of the theater, and house lights came on. They were like, "Hey, like turn around, find our photographer. Like he's gonna take a photo of us." Everyone yell. So we did that. It went super well, and then I was making my way back down the aisle to like get back to the stage and shoot them and stuff. And the house lights were still on, and Jamie, right before things went off, was like, "Okay, I need everyone on the count of 3 to yell out, 'Thank you, CMAC.'" And like 2,200 people yelled out, "Thank you, CMAC." As I was like walking down the aisle, I was like practically crying, like, "Thank you so much." So it was crazy. It was like super surreal.
That's insane.
That was nuts. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Do you have a video of that?
There might be a video of it somewhere out there in the
That'd be
universe.
pretty sick to get.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I've got plenty of like photos of me in the background of other people's photos.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have a video of that. That'd be sick to get.
Oh yeah. So, is there anything like you kind of learned from the tour and like took away from it?
Like, always have a camera on you. I think that was the thing that took away from the most. Like, even if it's like a little point shoot or something, but just to always have something with me.
No.
Because the amount of times we shot something that, like, it wasn't on stage, it wasn't
Yeah.
planned, like, nothing like that, but it turned out to be something really cool. So, I tried to kind of keep that,
Yeah.
like, through day-to-day life now. And it's worth it.
I can see that you brought your camera with you today.
Oh,
I always have, like, something with me if I can. Yeah.
Damn, that's smart. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
There's a Leica. Whew.
Yeah, it's my M2, so
Okay. That's sweet.
little baby.
That's
Oh, yeah.
filming, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did you actually get to shoot the tour?
Like, weird long story. Their manager, well, Jamie's a customer at Henry's.
Okay, yeah.
And her and Eli would come in every once in a while to like get gear for audio stuff or video or whatever. And their manager came in, and their manager was a customer of a colleague of mine. And so they were talking. This is probably a year before the tour itself happened. And they were chatting, and he'd mentioned that he was looking for someone to like photograph Eli and Jamie if they ever went on tour. And I was like hovering in the background, kind of like just eavesdropping because no one else was there. And I was like, hello. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Hey, well, here's my work and stuff." And he was like, "Oh, why haven't you been like shooting for us before? We're at Blues Fest next week. If you can come shoot, we can use it as like a trial, see if like everyone vibes super well, and then kind of go from there." So I basically cut my workday short, got someone to cover it, went to Blues Fest, shot, everything went super fucking well, and then I did some like BTS stuff for their music videos, like all this throughout like that year.
Okay.
And then I grabbed like a bite to eat to catch up with Eli, and right after that they were talking about tour stuff and all that, and I was like, "You know, you have to take me, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'd be cool if we could," so on and so forth. And then I go to my meeting, come back out and check, and I have a voicemail from Eli being like, "Hey, so we'd really like you to come on tour," like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, "No way." Tour stuff is usually never like the money grabber, or at least not like at the start. So it's enough, and you kind of like break even by the end of the tour. Like if you're really smart about it, you come out with something.
Yeah.
And it was basically that. So like everything was pretty much covered, and they're like, "We'd love to have you on tour." And I risked losing my part-time job to go on tour.
Wow.
And I was like, "Fuck it, yeah, it's super worth it," and it was worth it.
Oh,
so
100%.
The
Yeah.
experience out of that, man.
100%.
Whew.
Oh yeah, it's plus I really like the two of them.
Yeah.
They're like genuine people.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Fuck it, it's like going on tour with friends." So yeah,
Might as
I'm
well.
in.
Hell with it.
Yeah.
So, what gear did you end up bringing on tour? And is there any gear you wish you kind of had?
Like ideally, I wouldn't mind like having 2 fucking 1DXs, but I mean, budget's involved. I had my bag was pretty full, but I had my 5D. I got a loaner 60 Mark II from Canon, and then I had a 24-1.4, my 85-1.4, and then just like a little teeny crappy 50, like just in case. And so I would always have two cameras, one with 24, one with 85 on it, and that's like how I shot all the shows. My Polaroid camera came with me, a little like film point and shoot, and that's what I had with me like all the time. Like laptop, fucking portable battery, a billion freaking SD cards and batteries, like SD card readers and stuff like that. But that was about it. Like cleaning supplies, filters and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was two cameras, two lenses, pretty much. That was the whole thing.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Did you only run? Those are all primes then, eh?
I don't own any zooms.
Oh shit.
Like I shoot exclusively primes, pretty much, if I can.
Shit. Okay.
Which makes shooting event stuff or concerts a little hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is why I need two cameras, but I don't know. I just prefer it. Yeah.
Sharper.
It can be, but a little
Yeah.
lighter usually too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I liked it that way.
See, I don't know. I like to run zooms for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm filming, then I'll just run like my 35.
Yeah.
That's about all I run for filming.
Yeah.
But I love having the 7200.
The 7200's a beast of a lens, but like I would have hated that on tour. It would have taken up like 90% of my bag.
Yeah,
it's
I was like, fuck.
It's such a big lens.
It is, but it is super nice. Like I'm picking up one at some point soon for like editorial work, but yeah, I'm not taking it anywhere with me. No.
I used to shoot paintball, so I'd be holding that with my 5D Mark IV and a battery grip for about 7 hours a day.
Yikes.
Walking around outside.
Yeah.
Getting
That
shot
gets
at.
heavy.
That'll
Getting
fucking
shot
do it.
at.
Getting shot at by
Oh
paintballs.
man. Brand new $3,000 lens. Gets goes to paintball with it every single
God.
day. of
Hey,
work.
knock on wood, never got shot once.
There you go.
Oh, man.
That's all that's needed.
It's got paint on it, but it never got shot once.
Mhm.
So,
Battle scars.
definitely.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Is this lens durable? It's not bad. It's not bad.
That's how you know what lens is yours. It's the
Yeah.
one with like the pink on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of drives you and like inspires you to like create more and shoot more?
Oh shit. I don't think I could go a long time without like doing something. So like shooting or making or draw, like I don't know, call it like internal drive or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like anyone else though, I've got dry spells and lazy and all that kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
But I think honestly, like following along other people's work kind of kicks you in the ass sometimes, because you'll see that they're doing something, you're like, oh wait, like I'm just being lazy on my ass watching them do something, so I may as well be doing. So that's definitely like a big portion, but it's also like where I want to be down the line. So I'm like, hey, well, I have to do all this stuff to get there.
Oh, yeah. All about loving the process, about everything.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Oh yeah.
So how'd you get started with photography?
Oh shit.
Way back.
Um,
Way back.
I think it's like, I think the start is the pretty stereotypical, like my parents had a camera kind of thing, which took off like pretty well, and I was snapping away doing my things. But then after I graduated high school, I wanted to get into video production.
Okay.
And I wanted to do it at UBC, but then I figured, okay, first time out of like high school, might as well go to somewhere a little closer, safer, all that kind of stuff, which thank God I did. So I went to Ottawa U for film for 2 years. All my like film classes and video classes, I did great in, but apparently I had better things to do for like all the other classes. So I got kicked out of Ottawa U 2 years in, and I was like, my parents essentially forced me to choose somewhere else to go to school, or else it was like, okay, adios, figure your own shit out. Which was the best thing ever, because I made like my first choice like solely for me at that point, which was like, okay, I want to go study photography. Where can I do it? Algonquin. Okay, done. And then that year enrolled into that, and surprise motherfucker, now we're here. That's kind of like the rest led to itself.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's pretty sick, man.
I just caught myself taking photos more than doing video when I was in uni, so it kind of stuck.
Yep, that's happened to me too.
Yeah.
Went to graphic design school and then just went into photography.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Do you still look back at your old photos? Kind of remember where you came from, or no?
I mean, I feel like everyone does to a certain point. I look back and think, like, what kind of shit I did, like, that's for sure. I'll get tagged in something I shot like 3 years ago or something. Like,
don't tag it.
Take
It's so bad.
Take a tag off.
But it's good though, because it's entertaining to see where you thought you were really good, and then where you are now, and you're like, oh, okay, so I should really just shut up.
Yeah.
And kind of like figure my own work out and not try to say it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But overall, no. Like after a certain point, everyone kind of gets sick of their work, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And so you just keep trying to like, just
Create
do new shit.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
So what do you love most about photography? If there's one specific
shit.
thing you love most.
Hard questions.
I don't. Honestly, I like capturing the. Fuck.
No worries, man.
Literally, like the worst question. Of
I
all.
know.
I know.
I'd probably say it's capturing like the one moment, because you can freeze something, right? And although in video you can generally like capture emotion better,
Yeah.
you can like
You can
translate
pull
it better.
Yeah.
If a photo turns out really well, that snapshot can just like tell a whole story, which is really cool, and it's you have it forever pretty much, right? And so I do really think that print is the end of photography. It's like, yeah, it's on Instagram, or yes, it's on your website, but like, okay, that's not the final form of your photo. I think once it gets to print and then I have it, then I'm like, okay, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
Like, for this like piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Do you print a lot of your work then?
Definitely not as much as I want to, but that's why I try to put on gallery shows and stuff like that, because it gives me the proper chance to do that.
Yeah.
And like plans to have proper print shops running and like books and stuff like that, like in the future.
Okay,
so it's definitely what I want to do for work.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Would be print related. Yeah.
Do you have your own printer, or you just kind of print it at Henry's?
No. So for all my print stuff, I'll do all of it at Algonquin themselves.
Oh, okay.
So their photo department has like an agreement with me in regards to all my shows, and so I can go in, I'll pay for materials and like all that kind of stuff, but I can print and do all of my own stuff on their printers.
Okay.
That's nice.
I don't really like sending things off and just like having something come back and you can't control color and stuff. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I really like doing it all myself.
Okay. Yeah.
And that way I can.
Yeah, because you learn how to do it. That's the thing. I
went to school to do it, so you may as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you learn it, you're like, oh, I don't want. You need full control.
Yeah.
Or else any little like slight changes is gonna screw up your images.
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So do you prefer to shoot film or digital?
I think they each have their place for sure. Like I think there's a reason I do both. I enjoy shooting film more, at least recently, just because I don't do any retouching to it. And so it's that is what the photo was. Like there's nothing different to it. Like the colors are going to be that, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, that's also the worst part about it. So you got to make sure it's like the right set to do that with. But for day-to-day stuff, I don't shoot any like day-to-day stuff on digital. I'll shoot it all on film, and then you get everything back, you're rescanning, and it's like reliving the memories pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that I wouldn't trade for anything. Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Is there a specific type of film you like love to shoot with?
So this was because of working at Henry's. Henry's can only develop C41, or like color developing film.
Okay.
And there's a black and white film that Ilford makes that you can develop in color negatives. So I can have that sent in and get done. So you get staff pricing on black and white film, which is dope. So XP2 is like a really nice 400 speed black and white film. It's super punchy and like pretty contrasty and stuff. And so I started shooting that because I could send it out through Henry's and get staff pricing on it. And now it's just stuck. Like now it's what I like shooting. But it started off like entirely on a money basis.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff can run you down crazy money.
Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah, it can add up a lot.
So,
Yeah.
do you have any like tips and tricks for like filmmakers out there, or stuff that you kind of do
Oh shit.
that might make you unique with shooting film?
Shooting film. Anyone starting photography, I think, should actually start shooting film instead of digital. Especially black and white. It teaches you a lot more about light because it's really not forgiving. Because I mean, it teaches you like where to expose things properly for your shadows and your highlights and all that kind of stuff. But also it forces you to learn your manual settings right from the get-go. So sorry, not shooting film on like a point shoot, shooting film on like an actual SLR film.
Yeah.
Just fucking everyone's shooting film on a point and shoot. It's point shoot. Congratulations, you took a photo. But shooting film is slower, generally, right? Unless you're Mr. Moneybanks, you're just fucking like blowing through rolls of film. But I think it's better because you like your entire process slows down.
Okay.
So you think about what you're shooting a lot more, and you're a lot more picky with the shots that you do take. So generally you end up taking way less photos, and although you might have a bunch of just duds in the roll, you're gonna have like some really good pieces because you took the time to like properly set all your shit up, and like you took the time to like watch your talent or your landscape change and all that kind of stuff. And so I think the best thing to do is just shoot a lot of it. Just like digital, like the more you shoot, eventually the better you end up getting because you understand it. Film is the same thing. You just have to be a little more patient with it because you can't see what you did immediately, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
That's where like I think to start off, I'd go digital just because depends on your rate of how you want to grow.
For
But
sure.
if you want to learn faster, I'd go digital.
Yeah.
And what I would do is this. Everybody hates this, but I'd go viewfinder. So like you can see it on the back screen.
Yeah.
So when you move it around, I can see the light moving. I can see the person moving.
Yeah.
So you can actually get an understanding of it, like get into it.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
then I use Prime for sure, so you can actually move.
Yeah.
And then once you're comfortable with all those settings and that, then go film, because then you actually have some base of understanding.
Yeah.
So you're not like blowing money understanding that normal knowledge you can get with DSLR.
I enjoy the fact that you're
And
blowing money understanding it though, because it forces you to pay attention.
That's fair.
To a certain extent, as opposed to having like
Yeah.
64 gigs worth of mistakes that you can make. You're like, all right, so I need to keep track of my mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But shooting, even if you're shooting digital, I'd say if you're starting to shoot black and white, like even if it's digital, don't shoot color. Like learn light first.
Yeah.
Because color is easier. Like, okay, bright red, fantastic. Like my eyes gonna be drawn to it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it a good photo,
That's
right? So I'd say, yeah, shoot black and white, and like, it's crazy what you can do with black and white. So, yeah, I think that's kind of my mediocre amount of advice, I'd say. Yeah.
Shoot film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To start, I mean, not
No.
for the like appeal of shooting film, but like shoot film for like
To learn.
to learn. Yeah.
What film camera would you recommend for a starter then? Because I recently just picked up one of the like throwaway ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for the shits of it.
Yeah.
My Polaroid broke for the second time, so I'm kind of
Okay.
pissed on that. So I was like, fuck it, spend $25 or whatever, buy one of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you kind of recommend besides buying one of those throwaways?
Do something that isn't like point and shoot.
Okay.
So do an SLR where you can change everything, and it doesn't have to be fancy at all, right?
Yeah.
Like an AE1 or like a K1000. Like K1000 is the camera that's been sold the most in the world ever. Like there's a billion of them out there, and so you can pick them up for super cheap, and you don't have to put through the best film in the world. You just need to put through like something decent that you can see your photos on, and a 50. And that's kind of it. Like that's literally all you need. It comes in a package this big, so there's no reason for you not to have it on you.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then just start putting rolls through it, and like pay attention to like where your exposure is and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, like a super cheap SLR that's it. That's all you need.
And like, might sound kind of stupid on this, but like, how do you measure all your exposure and everything that?
So it depends on the camera.
Because I know there's apps you can download.
Yeah. So there's some pretty decent light meter apps, but cameras like K1000s and 8U1s and stuff like that, most of them have a light meter in the camera. It's pretty basic, so it's like a line. It'll tell you, okay, if it's in the green or if it's in the middle, you're like well exposed or something, right? But it forces you to kind of pay attention to what your settings are that get you there, and then you can like kind of go down the line. My M2 doesn't have a light meter in it, and so I'm forced to like pay attention to what's outside and be like, hey, I think it's like 1,000th of a second at like f4.
Yeah.
And then you fuck it up and you get a black roll back or something, right? But it's good because it like forces you to understand at what point in the day you can shoot where, like what the shadows on average shoot at and things like that. But I'm still fucking learning that. Like it takes a long time to get really good at just guessing exposure. Just apps on your phone and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I know you starting to host your own galleries, stuff like that, and they're called like phases.
Yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit about like phase 1 and like what that was all about, and then if you want to talk about phase 2 and like kind of what's that show going to be about?
Sure. So phase 1 was so after I finished photography at Algonquin, I went into business, and halfway through that we had a project which was like putting together something big for your business. So a lot of people were putting together like pitch decks and stuff like that, but I didn't have like investment to go after necessarily. So I turned it into like the biggest project I could think of other than that, which was hosting like a photography exhibit basically. And I went into it thinking that I definitely can't do like all of this alone. There's a lot of things that I don't know how to do. And so my colleagues and friends that were closest to me in like my creative circle, I guess you could say, I poached and was like, hey, we're gonna do this like thing. Like I want to put on a show, but like I want everyone to kind of like do this together. And I wanted us to push like all of our boundaries as much as we possibly could. And so we were all used to shooting for Instagram, you shoot for like 8x10 print, like that kind of stuff, right? And I was like, okay, well, I want to shoot like 6-foot canvases, so let's figure this out. And so I found like the appropriate partners and stuff like that. And I fucked up a lot of things, honestly, right? But first show, you like lessons learned, right? And what it was is we were looking at spaces that people had galleries in already, which were all like really overdone or basic or kind of shitty spaces. And so I contacted a colleague of mine who is an interior designer. I was like, hey, do you know of anywhere in Ottawa? She knew the owner of Common, which I went to all the time. And I was like, yeah, like I know Nader as well. I'll go and chat. And he offered like for me to use one of his spaces. I was like, this would be perfect because I can, like it's a good traffic. It's a pretty cool space. And so I took him up on using the store portion of it, but I was like, okay, I have a condition for it. You have to empty the space for me. And he's like, yeah, we can take the clothes out. I was like, no, like empty the space for me, like no racks, no nothing, take everything out. And he's like, yep, we can arrange it. And so we spent a day like tearing everything down, and we were left with this like really cool design, like bare space. And I was like, okay, so let's work backwards from here now. And we shot specifically for the space. And so all the photos that were printed, there was like 7 different sets of images pretty much, and most of them had like one big like 5 or 6 foot canvas that hung from the ceiling, and then like 3 other little ones that kind of like went with it. And so there was like a whole bunch of them all around the room. And it was fun to do it because it wasn't something I'd seen before. I was like, I don't really want to put just photos on the wall. I want to like try something, right?
Your own show, basically.
And so we did that, like marketed as much as we possibly could, got like custom vinyls done for windows, like all of this kind of stuff. So it was really going as far as we possibly could think on all this stuff. And it was also shooting on like things that I hadn't shot before necessarily. So it was, we rented out like medium format Hasselblad cameras, like film medium format, and then we printed everything on like stuff that we'd never really used before, which was canvas, and like figuring out how to hang it and all that stuff. All the canvases curled halfway through the show anyways, because we didn't like back them because the adhesives wouldn't work, so like there was problems in itself, but it was like attendance was great, and it was really cool to like see something come together like that. Phase 2 is me taking everything I learned from the first one, scrapping everything and starting from scratch. And so there's a few people in the team for the first one that are like carrying over. And this hasn't really been announced or anything, but the team that I'm doing it with is the team that I start my company with. Okay. And so it's basically in-house production. So everything from graphic design to styling to hair to makeup, like all that kind of stuff is all done with the same people. So whenever we get clients that justify like more people to come in on set, I know who I want to do it, right? And so it's taking those people and like pushing all of our skills like as far as we possibly can. So doing like really cool graphic design work, and then finding like interesting ways to like print or design other things. So it's not just about the photos, it's about like the entire day, I guess you could say, which includes like photos, video work, design work, styling work, like apparel design, like event management, like the whole shebang. So it's showcasing what the team can do, and then hopefully that like brings in clients, right?
That's pretty sick, actually.
Yeah, and so phase 2 is going to be all of my work as photo stuff, but then it'll also be like the launch of this group, I guess you could say.
So do you have a specific like theme that you kind of follow for these phases?
The phases weren't really. The phase 1 was just, okay, so this is a bunch of just new stuff that I shot, and I like tried to tackle, I don't know, creative ideas that I hadn't done before. So we like shot with octopus and like stuff like that, or like some abstract stuff, and then we put all that stuff up, and it all kind of flowed together because there's a certain like style that works its way in, but they were not like, there was no theme really. Right. And this time there isn't really a theme either, which I don't think, if I continue to do the phases as like a regular event, I don't think there ever will be a theme for it. But if I start doing other like solo shows, those I'll probably like pick a project and be like, hey, I want to shoot for this. But these are just, okay, so let's shoot the coolest stuff that I can. And like figure it out from there.
That's pretty dope, actually.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Do you know when you're going to launch it? In the works.
Well, I know exactly when it is. Yeah. Like we have spaces booked and everything. I've been teasing the date and all that stuff, which is October 12th for the last like little while. Proper announcements and all that stuff will probably come out in the next like few weeks.
So we should definitely go check that out then.
Same spot or like new spot?
No, new spot. Sweet. So there'll be info for all that stuff out.
That's dope. Yeah, send it to us. Awesome. We'll toss it on
for
our page too.
100%. Yeah,
that's pretty sick, actually.
Damn.
How much, if you're cool, how much money would you say roughly gets put into this? Or do you get like sponsors involved and stuff like that?
So, well, yes and no. For phase 1, I wanted to bring in as many names in as possible to make like my job as easy as possible too, right? So most of my casting was done through MIM. So there was a local agency which they let me use like the talent without payment, which was dope because it was all creative, and then they got to use it for book work. Algonquin I partnered with because I knew that I wanted to get my stuff printed there, and I knew I wanted to do it myself. And so there was a lot of kind of cost savings there to a certain extent because I didn't have to pay the fees for like someone to go and print it. So I paid for like my paper and my inks and that stuff, but that was it. And then Canon sponsored me a 1DX for about 4 months to shoot like all the behind the scenes and like the wrap up video and stuff for it. And that was pretty much it. But the only thing is accounting for like space rental, materials. Although the models weren't being paid, I'll always handle travel, accommodations, food, like all this kind of stuff. Plus like hardware to like hang everything and like all of that stuff together.
Yeah, all the little things.
Yeah, which adds up really fast.
Yeah.
But I think overall phase 1 ran like 33 to 3,500 or something like that, like give or take. The only thing is I'd also wasted a lot of money doing it too, which I learned not to do this time. So I don't entirely know, like I have a budget set, but we're not gonna like announce budgets or anything like that necessarily. Yeah. I should be able to like stick within it and be okay this time, because we're planning a lot more meticulously this time because we know what the mistakes were the last time, right? But I think that's like our space is costing us a lot more this time, so we have to like offset with other things. But the last time we printed and sold work, but we'd marketed the fact that the prints are selling really poorly, and so most people came in and like didn't even know that you could buy pieces, right? So we made up the cost for all the materials we spent on it, but there was no money being made. Yeah. Which I don't think anyone who has a show ever expects to like make money on it for the first few times.
Right.
And if you are, you're like doing it for the wrong reasons. But this time around, it's gonna be a lot more simple. Like we're gonna be like really obvious that work is for sale, all this kind of stuff. Also, it's really hard to buy a 6-foot canvas if you're not like ready to buy a 6-foot canvas.
That's fair.
Because it's like expensive plus, okay, do I have space?
Yeah.
And so it's just like taking all that and like factoring that in this year. Yeah.
That's pretty sick though. How long, like roughly how long does it take you to plan and like shoot everything? Like, has it just been like since the last phase you've been planning for this one? Or have you just started like kind of this year?
I'd say proper work to go into it is like easily 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah, if not a full year, of like actual work and.
Because you have to book the spot super early, I'm guessing, or somewhat.
I'm really anal with it, so yeah.
So I booked it.
I booked it like a long time ahead and was like figuring out after party and event locations and stuff like that like way ahead too. So everyone was like, "When is this happening?" And I said October, and they're like 9 months from now. I was like, yeah. I just want to make sure I know my stuff. But yeah, it takes a long time. Yeah. But it's enjoyable. So I really I can't complain at all.
It's a fun process. You learn so much. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, do you have like an end goal for like this kind of phases, or are you just going year per year just for the shits of it?
Kind of going year per year, but obviously growing,
or
at least getting better. Not necessarily like going bigger, but just doing it better as well. And hopefully, as the years progress, it actually turns into a thing that my team and I can like keep doing internationally as well. But for now, it's kind of a trial period.
Yeah.
Like, it's my way of testing out the people that I'm working with to be like, okay, yes, this works with these people.
Yeah.
Because phase 1 made me, like, re-rack everyone. Because I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. Okay, this is going to work. And then this year, I think our team's a lot more solid. So it allows me to kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
So do you ever plan on doing it with more photographers, or is like phase just going to be your own thing with your team?
I did the last time. So for phase 1, there was another 2 photographers that showed work in it, and 2 designers that showed work in it.
Okay.
It was presented in a weird way, I think, and it was really confusing because you were trying to figure out like whose work was whose in the space and all this kind of stuff. And so for this time, I just like scrapped that, and I was like, if I'm gonna do a joint exhibition, I'll just make a joint exhibition with a bunch of people, right? Whereas the phases, I think it's my photography, but pretty much all the work in it. If there was makeup done, it was done by the people on like my roster. If it was like video, it was done by. So it's basically all in house. So I think that's gonna be the idea for the phases, and then other solo shows and stuff like that, they'll have like their own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have like a 5-year game plan, a 2-year game plan? Kind of where you...
Always, I guess.
End of the day, where you see yourself with photography?
Shit. There's a 2025 game plan, which is opening up a space. Whether it's here in Montreal, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see when we get like a little bit closer.
Yeah.
But multi-use, so that's kind of that game plan to a certain extent. But in the next little while, I'd say like 1 year game plan. A lot of it's kind of, not that it's hush-hush, it's just I don't want to say it and put it out in the world
fair.
and then like me not follow through with it.
Yeah.
Then you're looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to start this super cool thing, and then everyone's like, oh, awesome. 3 years go by, and you're like, okay, so what happened to that super cool thing you were going to do?
I've done that a couple times.
Oh, we all have, right?
Yeah.
But no, in the next year it'll be, so putting out phase 2, properly starting the roster, and then basically all the work that goes along with that, I guess. So like properly setting up web pages and socials for all that stuff. And we're starting like an online publication to like get the work going, which is kind of the idea for it. And so all of that'll be the next year. I think that's pretty much like what that is. For the next 3 months, no, it's all about the show.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically all I'm doing. Yeah.
That's fair. So, do you do like a lot of paid work? Is that stuff going into the show as well?
No, so I don't think... I'm trying to think of how much. I'd say at least 90% of like the paid work that I do is never seen by like people who follow me, or it's never put onto like my website or anything like that. And that's hopefully going to change, but I mean that's also why I kept a part-time job, is so that I could shoot things that I wanted to shoot.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit hard in Ottawa to do editorial work because most of it's like commercial.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm trying to do work between here and Montreal as much as I can. It's close enough, and plus I can do some of the work in the city for clients in Montreal, which that kind of works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of told myself that I was opting out from doing most paid work that would be business related.
Yeah.
So like skipped out on weddings, headshots, and like all that kind of stuff, and kept the part-time job instead, so that I can like shoot what I want to shoot.
Yeah.
And focus on it that way, which somewhat works, and like it's kicked off and I'm busy and it's good, but at the same time there's still a part-time job, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd ever say I'm fully freelance.
Okay.
Like I'm like piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I find it really hard to like kind of kick that part-time job.
Well, you could. It's
In a
pretty
way.
easy to do if you don't care about your client list.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I could have gone fully freelance like 2 or 3 years ago and just been picking up weddings and corporate headshots and like all this kind of stuff, but I'd be dead inside. Like I'd want to kill myself.
Yeah, that's fair.
Super not down for that. And so I had a big piece of my like artistic integrity to keep, I guess. And I actually enjoy the part-time job. Like it's good.
Yeah.
And it's in my industry anyways. Plus discounts are great.
Yeah.
Great. So that's been fantastic, but if it takes me longer, I'm actually fully okay with it. Like I don't think if it takes me another 5 years to even like go fully freelance the way that I want to, it's fine, because it means I'll like hit the ground running the way that I always wanted to, right?
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
If you could own any camera in the world at any point in time, what would it be?
At any point in time?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, probably an S system from Leica. So it's their medium format camera that's like the size of a DSLR pretty much.
Okay.
It's crazy cool.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Like image quality is insane. I've always wanted one like since I saw it come out. But it's a lot of money. Like,
Is that digital or film?
It's digital.
Okay.
Yeah, it's digital. So I think like it'd be useless for 90% of the other kind of work.
Oh, yeah.
But like, if I could own any camera thing, that'd be pretty fucking cool to own. But it's like, it's something stupid like 35,000 US for the body or something like.
Oh yeah.
Something really dumb like that.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
Leica is known to be for lawyers or doctors.
Yeah.
Like, that's how expensive they are.
Yeah, they definitely can be. There's a reason why they are, but also you're kind of paying for the name a little bit as well, right? But like, I mean, this camera's 60 years old and it's still like doing fucking great, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely can't say that about a lot of my other cameras.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's up there. Oh man.
Yeah, I know, it definitely can be.
Oh man.
Okay, we'll hop into our little Q&A here since we have one question. You guys really suck at asking questions. Just letting you guys know. You guys suck at asking questions for our guests.
Hopefully we'll get more next time.
Follow my Instagram, Acef.media. Whenever I post questions, go ask questions about our guests. But
There you go.
Pedro Decimus asks, what's your creative process?
Oh, shit. Honestly, I think it's actually really simple. Don't think too much. It's kind of the easiest way to go into it, I guess. I enjoy kind of working off of a mood board a little bit. Like, you kind of get an idea as to what you want to do with someone a bit. The problem is usually when you actually show up with a person, everything changes. Like, everything you had in mind just goes right out the window, and you're like, no. And so it's kind of giving yourself a little bit of guidance at the start, planning a lot for all the other aspects, but for the actual shoot, like just having an idea or like a color palette or like sort of an outfit or something. And then once you're there, take the first, if you have the freedom, take the first little while to just like shoot the shit with whoever your talent is. Just like do you have a conversation, grab coffee, do drinks, like whatever it is, but like don't do photo related stuff. And then everyone's really comfortable, you get to know your subject, and then when you start shooting, like things flow super easily. And I found that was always the best thing to do, was to like form your relationship first and then bring work in, because whenever I tried to like have a super crammed tight spot, like time slot, sorry, it like never works out. And it's usually the 5 shots at the end that are the best anyways. And you're like, oh, we're out of time. So it's kind of that. It's like you form the relationship before the business. And that's the easiest way I could put it. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the easiest way to do it.
I find so, honestly. It's the most relaxing for the talent, too.
Like, if you have the time,
yeah,
it's the best.
100%.
Oh, definitely. Alright, let's go into the lightning round then.
Let's go.
Okay.
It's basically 10 questions answered off the top of your head.
Alright. Okay, I'm ready. Yeah, let's do this.
Famous person you'd like to shoot with?
Kate Moss.
Favorite food?
Fucking bananas.
Morning or night person?
Definitely not. Morning, yeah.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
South of France.
Go-to lens?
85.
Favorite drink?
Shit. Bourbon.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million?
Oh, shit. Car.
Where am I? Who would you call if you got put into jail?
My dad. 100%.
Mac or PC? Or neither?
Mac.
Mac? What would you tell your younger self?
Oh, shit. Okay, I'm not gonna say it'll get better. Oh, fuck. Honestly, I'll just be a Nike ad. Just do it. Honestly, that's probably what I would tell my younger self, is whatever it is you're thinking, just fucking do it. Yeah.
There you go.
It's entertaining there because you always get asked that, and you're like, well, if I changed anything, I wouldn't be here. I kind of enjoy being where I am, so...
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, whatever those mistakes were, fucking... It's time.
Yeah.
You learn.
Me and Frank did the lightning round last episode.
Yeah.
This guy struggled so hard on it.
Took like 5 minutes to answer one question. Oh, man.
Lightning round is entertaining because you, like... It's pretty genuine responses, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Our one buddy said keep it going as his last thing.
All right.
So we just kind of make
It's
fun
just
of
a
him for the
running
shits of
joke
it.
I love
every
it.
single episode.
Do you have any questions for me or Frank?
Why'd you guys start the podcast?
So like kind of, I'll speak for myself here. One reason I wanted to start it is because in the end of the day, as big of a goal as this sounds to be, I want to be the most influential photographer.
Okay.
That's like kind of my ultimate goal, like
Right.
Gary Vee's buying the Jets type of thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
my goal, right? So starting a podcast is, to me, part of the process of actually getting there, because through doing this and having this as a platform, you're kind of branching yourself out from everyone else, because not that many people are doing podcasts as of right now, and you're like providing so much information to viewers. Then in a way also shows that you know information and you might gain clients off of that, but you're also like potentially helping other photographers gain more clients or get well known and stuff like that, right? So like for me, I find doing this is one of the ways that kind of helped me get to like being that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
I don't know if there's actual definition of being the most influential photographer, but that's just something like in my head, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I
that's
take
one of the
that.
reasons why I wanted to start it.
It's just a great feeling, just like, because we always have conversations all the time. We're always talking about business or photography or whatever.
Mhm.
I was like, might as well put it out.
Right.
Because it's good information. Why keep it in when we can just give it to everybody else?
Yeah.
They can learn, we can meet them, and then we
Mhm.
can get more work done together. Or like projects and things like that.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
It's just so great.
Building connections and
Oh,
stuff
it's
like
insane.
that.
Yeah, because like I just met like 2-3 new photographers. Now I just shoot with them because they have the same mindset.
Cool.
Like it's just stuff like that. It's like you would never get that if you don't put yourself out. Or
Yeah,
put like
100%.
this kind of stuff out.
And like this also kind of helps us learn, because I don't know a lot about film, right? So
Right.
having you on talking about film, now I know a little bit more film.
Yeah.
Right? We have wedding people on, talk about weddings, now we know
That's
a little
cool.
bit more about that. And like just stuff like that, just kind of being around creatives kind of in a way influences you to want to do more.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like having your own gallery and stuff like that, that's pretty sick.
100%.
You know? So yeah, that's kind of the reason
Sweet.
why I want to do this.
No, I like that.
podcast.
That's awesome.
So thanks a lot for stopping by.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
You bet.
Can't wait for the show in October. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
that's gonna
send
be
you guys
sweet.
some invites out. Yeah.
For
Definitely. Guys, thanks a lot for listening. Stay tuned for upcoming topics surrounding the creative industry. If you'd like us to talk about a certain topic, shoot us a DM or leave a comment. If you'd like us to bring on a certain guest, do let us know as well. Make sure to check out the podcast at Born to Create Podcast. You can check me out at Acef.media. Go answer my questions whenever I write questions.
Please do. And then you can find me at fm.photography_design.
And where can everyone find you?
At Thesilkmade on fucking everything. Same thing across the board. Yeah.
Instagrams will be linked in the description.
Yeah.
Make sure to go check out his show. You'll see all of us
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
100%.
Peace out, everyone. Stay woke.
Have a great
Love
day.
it.